everybody. Welcome to the W.W.A.S.P podcast. Thank you guys so much for your continued support. You're awesome. I really appreciate all the all the help you guys have given me to get to where I'm at. So more people can be exposed to these stories and hopefully prevent children from being sent away and all that kind of stuff. I want to thank you to my Patreon members as well. Anybody that's donated financially, I never ask for donations, so anybody that donates, it's really appreciated. So thank you guys for that. Quick shout out on them. I want to do a moment of silence on the person still struggling with intrusive thoughts or addiction or anything like that. So on the count of three, I'm going to do a moment of silence. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you for that. And without further ado, I want to go ahead and introduce my guest for the day. Go ahead and introduce yourself and where you went and what years.
Yeah, so my name is Joseph, and I actually went to multiple facilities that would be categorized under the T.T.I label. One of which was in one of which was in Texas near the Austin area in a small city called Liberty Hill. This was called Maridel Achievement Center. They've been around for multiple decades, which is unfortunate, but there's a lot of history on these places because of that. A lot of different people have been through there. And then the second place I was, it was more of a longer term facility. And this place was called Heritage. And this was in Provo, Utah, very close to the place that Paris Hilton went to, Provo Canyon. This place was like, very similar of a facility. So yeah, I went to those two places, and yeah, I was at Heritage for almost 2 years. So that was quite a while.
Okay. And walk us through your childhood and like what led up to being sent away to the first place.
Yeah, great question. So it's not funny, but it's bizarre how similar a lot of our stories are, because I've talked to some other survivors, and my story, I was scapegoated in like a narcissistically abusive family. And from my understanding, I think like 90% of the people that were at Heritage had like the same thing going on. And so I think like Heritage kind of existed to kind of exploit that kind of a family dynamic. So my home life was a lot of like, my mom gave birth to me when she was like it's like the worst possible situation you could be in as a kid. Like my mom gave birth to me and she was like 18. My dad was in prison in another country, in Australia to be exact. And I was left fatherless, and my mom was kind of vulnerable. She got married to my stepdad. She had kind of been seeing him since I was 2. He was an angry alcoholic guy, physically abused me, physically abused my mom, used her and my grandparents for money. My grandpa, raging alcoholic. My grandma is on drugs. Like a lot of people in my family are on drugs. Like I come from a very dysfunctional family that kind of like hides behind like religion and stuff.
Okay.
And so like me, when I was in high school, like just kind of not having like a serious plan that they approved of, I think was like, I mean, I don't want to blame myself for Heritage because it was an abusive situation, but I think their logic or what they would tell their friends would be like, oh, I was headed down a bad path. And I think that's what a
Yeah.
lot of people were told, although that's not actually the truth. But like that's kind of like the whole narrative that gets played out. So that's kind of like what led up to me getting sent to Heritage.
Okay. What was actually going on?
Yeah, so like a lot of abuse at home was going on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And okay, did you get transported to the first place? Walk us through like how you got there.
Yeah, so I got transported actually from a behavioral hospital. There's a lot of different like legal kind of games that they play. Um, like I'm talking about like the places like Heritage and like the gooning, the transporters and that kind of stuff. There's a lot of different like kind of legal chess they do, and I'm aware that like a lot of people before they get sent away, they might get like committed to either
Yeah.
like for me, I was actually in a emergency room for 3 days, and I got taken to a behavioral hospital. They kept me there for 11 days, and
Okay,
that's
so
really not normal because typically the longest you can stay there is like 5 days. So I knew something was off. And then from there, the goons came and got me. So I'm grateful it wasn't from the house, but it still was not pleasant.
Okay. And the first, when you went to the hospital originally, was that a 5150 type situation? Like, were you committed, quote unquote, like where you had to go there and then you got sent to the other place, or did you go willingly?
It kind of was like a little bit of both, but I don't really think it was like I was definitely coerced. And
Okay.
when you're that young, I was 16 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
So their whole thing is like, oh, you're a minor, like, you don't have rights until you're 18. And I think that's a really big problem in this country is like not being able to have autonomy over your own like it's just ridiculous. Like you're gonna tell me I have to go to a hospital when I'm not sick. Like that just
Yeah.
in what world is that normal? That's just crazy.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out, like, did your parents call on you, or did you just, like, how did you end up there?
Okay, yeah. So there was like I said, there was a lot of abuse going on at home. And so like
Mm-hmm.
DFACS got involved when I was 15. And I think
Okay.
my parents knew that I was the type of person to like speak out and like retaliate. So I
Okay.
think I think not unlike a lot of other people's parents, they were like, we need to think fast. Like we need to like kind of drown my voice in something so that way I can't like retaliate or speak out against the abuse.
Okay.
And I think that coupled with like, oh, we're going to instill fear in you. We're going to show you what happens if you try to like step away from the family system. Like, we're going to force you to stay. You know what I mean? So I think it was
Okay.
like a lot of things. And I'm theorizing because you can never get a straight answer out of like narcissists, when you
Yeah.
ask them. So they always say like, oh, we were afraid for you and this and that. But like I wasn't even the type of person where I was doing drugs before Heritage or like any of that kind of stuff. The only thing I did, like, there was some skipping school and like going to the skate park and shit. But like, mind you, I was working a job at the time as well. Like I was
Yeah.
working at a car wash. Like it wasn't like I was like fucking off and doing nothing. Like I was trying to better myself, and I feel like I was actually quite mature for my age.
Okay.
And yeah, had a
Okay.
plan and everything.
Yeah, I just like to lay those situations out because uh, it's there's a lot of similarities between the interviews. So I asked specific questions like, how did you end up there? Because a lot of people ended up, having the hospital or wherever they got sent to. In your case, it was two places,
Mhm.
as a like kind of like transitional holding place until they found a
Exactly.
program for you that was what they deemed would be a good fit, quote unquote. So
Y- Yes, and really quickly to that point, this is really weird, but my mom has something called Munchausen's by proxy syndrome, and she's
interesting.
been diagnosed with that. So one of the things that she would do, even way before Heritage, would be like doctor shopping. So part of the
Yep.
abuse I went through at home was like she would find doctors that she would think would be like susceptible to her manipulation.
Hmm.
And she would, which is not very hard in the psychiatry industry because they're all about money. And my mom
Yeah.
would like feed them like BS symptoms about like one of the worst times, for example, she said I had psychosis, and she
Okay.
specifically listed off symptoms of like schizophrenia, and then she
Mhm.
would get them to give me pills for that and then use that as like an instrument of the abuse. And I believe Heritage was like just the same thing. In fact, when I was at Heritage, I remember journaling something like, this is just like an extension of my mom's abusive hand in my life. Like that's exactly what it felt like. It was just a weapon, like of the family abuse.
Okay. So she was doctor shopping. Was she trying to get you on prescription medications in addition to that, or was she more so just trying to get you diagnosed with what she felt you had, quote unquote,
I think it wasn't necessarily about a specific diagnosis because it was always like one thing and the next thing and next thing. And there's always this
Okay.
continuous narrative that, oh, we're going to find out what's wrong with you,
Okay.
and like that was really damaging. And like when I was at Maridel, like my mom would like get really giddy and excited about like the bipolar type 2 diagnosis that they tried to give me because, that's a very, I'm pretty sure everybody that went to Heritage had that diagnosis paired with something else just so they
Interesting.
could sedate us with like nobody there was on zero medicine. Like
Yeah.
that was one of the most common things that I'll see with a lot of testimonies is like, yeah, we were drugged up. Like I was on like 900 milligrams of not like I was on 900 milligrams of lithium,
Yeah.
and I tried to refuse the blood draw my first day at Heritage, and this guy named Nate Pond. I don't know if I'm allowed to say
You,
names here, but
you can, you
whatever.
can, you
Yeah,
can.
Nate Pond. He's like he used to be a counselor at Heritage or whatever he was, LCSW. And he sat me down. And he's like, "This is not how things work here." And they're like, "You're gonna have to do it one way or another." And like it was very like mafioso kind of
Yeah.
like, "We're gonna sit you down and look you in the eye, and you're not anything to us," kind of thing. And yeah, they forced me to do it. And I knew my rights well enough to know that I could refuse the blood draw. I don't know how. I guess I'd asked
Mhm.
around in the behavioral hospital. Um, but like they wouldn't even do that in the behavioral hospital, as corrupt as it is. So it just surprised me that they did that at Heritage.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So they
Okay.
did force that. And it's just sorry, it's hard to talk about that because like the drugs and stuff, I was never one to experiment with that until after Heritage, if I'm being honest. But like I was very protective of my health, athlete, you know what I mean? Like that never ran through my mind. So like it really bothered me to have to take something that I knew was bad for my liver and like just was poisonous.
Yeah. No, completely understandable, and you're totally fine with showing emotion. You're good.
Yeah.
It's natural. You're all good. This is safe space. What do you remember about when you first got there?
Great question, man. So I'm just going to reference this. I have a pamphlet sitting on the table over there, but I came in with these sorry, this is kind of stupid detail, but I had these retro sorry, someone tried to call me. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I had these like I had really nice clothes. I think that was my way of like kind of self-care.
Hmm.
And I had these retro Jordan 5s on, and I had these nice, like, that was my thing in high school, like, just trying to dress nice and trying to
Yeah.
present myself well. So, like, I didn't realize that would make me a target of, like, bullying when I got there because these were, like, really
Mhm.
brand new shoes. And a lot of people there didn't have that because they didn't, like, see their families and nobody had money. So, other than, like, gifts and care packages. So I came in there with, like, nice clothes on, and I knew the staff kind of, like, gave me certain looks because I still had that like confidence about me because I hadn't like fully been through the ringer yet.
Yeah.
And one of the first things that happened was they staged an incident where like these two students came up to me and like physically attacked me. And instead of defending myself, I kind of saw through what was going on, and I was like, yeah, I don't think that like this is the smartest decision to like get into a fight here when I knew what happened at the last lockdown I was at.
Mm.
Anytime that would happen, tackled to the ground. You get something called booty juice, which was like
Yep.
yeah, like like an injection.
Yep.
And this may sound bizarre, but like I can't remember if Heritage did the booty juice or not. I know the lockdown did. I wouldn't be surprised if Heritage did. I think they did that more in secret, like in the seclusion room areas. I knew they didn't want other students to like see that.
Yeah.
But that never happened to me while I was at Heritage.
Okay.
But like totally crazy, right? It's like something you
Hmm.
do to an animal that you're hunting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they staged an incident, and come to find out, I think some of the staff kind of like put the students up to it. And like they claimed that I had made a racial slur to one of the students, which is absolutely ridiculous. And I can actually have that student come and testify that that never happened nowadays. And like, anyways, there's this guy named Matt Rout, ex-Marine, ex-prison guard, fucking tackles me to the ground. And I tried to fight him off of me, but I don't know, man. In those situations, it's a lot, so I
Yeah.
couldn't fight him off. And nowadays I'd probably be able to, but not then. I was 16. And him and another individual tackled me to the ground and like held me there, and like they were like, "You're in my house now." Like it was definitely intimidation. And then I had to do like packets of like they took me to a private place and above this pool area, and they made me do like packets and packets and packets of like paperwork. And then they put me in a basement for like 2 weeks, and then they kept on like they would like barely feed me. They like skimp my trays, and they'd be like, "Oh, sorry, we forgot." And it was like clearly like a game they were playing.
Well, they
And
were trying to break you.
well, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
And it didn't work, but it definitely was traumatic. And the reason I say that is because like I just found ways to kind of manipulate the system the whole time I was there because I'm really smart like that, but it was still was hurtful. And
Yeah.
there was another event that kept on happening where like those students and other students would like bully me in the hallways where I'd be walking to like class in one of the corridors, and like as I would turn the corner like four people would come up to me and like this was like not playing around. Like there's a certain level of energy that like people will have, like let's say like I've been to jail before, like people will threaten you, but it's just like it's just BS. No, like these people, like it was like, no, we're gonna kill you if we get your hands on you. And it was like it was crazy. There's this kid named RTC, and he came up to me and he wanted to like fight me, and I'm like, dude, like I'm not a pussy, dude, but like at the same time, when you're in that situation,
Yeah.
like I'm too smart for that, bro. You know, like I'm not gonna try to fight three people and then fight all the guards and have everybody fucking. I'm not stupid. So I remember running away, and I ran out of the school building one time, and then like the staff were like gaslighting me. They're like, "Why did you run for no reason?" and all this shit. And I quickly realized I'm like, this is gonna be like a long fucking ride. And that lasted for like the first month. And then there was like a peaceful kind of like agreement that I made with like Damon, and Damon was like the leader of the little squad, you know, and he had all the pull with the staff members because he had actually been there twice. He was like a recidivist of heritage, I guess, but you know, good for him. But I don't know, like that was really traumatic, like getting attacked by peers, and then staff would like antagonize me, and I don't know, they would like it's hard to like remember the first I don't know, it almost seems like there was like a schedule of like intensity that they put on us and when I first got there, because there's like generations that come through. It's like every 9 months a new generation of people at the heritage facility come through,
Yeah.
and you know, what have you. And as I kind of progressed, you know, there's a level system. So I ended up getting an iPod. Like those things make it more bearable. But like when you don't have that shit, it's just fucking hell. It's like I remember just passing out in the quiet room on this beanbag or passing out on the couch because of the lithium, the stress, and everything. And actually, hold on. I remember distinctly in the first week, I picked up the phone and I called my mom. I was like, hey, a lot of these kids here are like here for drug addiction. Like I'm not saying that that makes you any lower. And I'm not saying that at
Yeah.
all. I'm just saying like that didn't pertain to my situation.
Yeah.
So I was very confused, and they kept on asking me when I was there, when I first got there, they're like, you need to admit why you're here. You
Yeah.
need to admit why you're here. And I'm like, I can't. Like, it's confusing. I'm like, I didn't do anything. Like, I literally just happened to come from an abusive family, and I knew in my heart of hearts what was going on. But like the gaslighting was so intense that like you might as well just admit to what they're saying just so they shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I told them I was like, I guess I like skipped out on school, like I don't know, like you know, truancy. And so they're like, no, it was worse than that. Like, what drugs were you on? They're like, we know you were a drug addict. I'm like, okay. So tell me about myself, right? And it was just always that, like, you know, like we know your type, and they're like, oh, we've seen it all, we've seen everything. Like they always had this kind of like egotistical, like all-knowing mentality, coupled with the we're better than you, we're superior, we're Mormon kind of thing. And like, yes, I do have beef with that religion because of a lot
Yeah.
of the deeds that they do and the bad things they do in society. So I think it's
Yeah.
my right to say that. But
Yeah.
yeah, like so yeah, like fuck all of that, you know, like what they did to us and all the trauma. And yeah, so let's you know, next question, I guess, because I don't want to just keep going on that. And but yeah,
Okay.
it's kind of a tangent. But yeah,
Okay. And you were just talking about the first place you went or Heritage or both?
there was a little like mainly about heritage, but the first place was 3 months, and I was told at the first place in a session with my counselor that heritage is going to be like a 6 month long facility.
Yeah.
Well, initially I was told I was going to leave Maridel after the 3 months, right? So it was like this little like it was like this little breadcrumb, kind of like here's your next little breadcrumb, here's your next little checkpoint, until it got to the point where it was like oblivion. I was like, all right, mom, like you're fucking lying to me. And she like presented it like it was a golden opportunity. She's like, oh, I've got this great place for you, there's skateboards. I was like, okay, cool, like you know. That doesn't really matter. But the website had all these videos, and like they had these students who created these videos, It's like you're gonna be coming to Heritage, and I'm not gonna lie to you, man. Like it seemed really sketchy, but like a part of me like was like hopeful. Like this is the sad part. Like a part of me it was hopeful that it actually was gonna be like what they said it was gonna be, which was like, okay, there's all these friends, like all these people are trying to do better for themselves, and they painted it out to be like your home life was bad. So here's something good. And I thought this was like my mom trying to like redeem herself for like being a really horrible parent and just like a horrible human being. So I was like getting really giddy and excited about like, oh, cool skateboards. And like at this facility, there's going to be girls. So it's not going to be all guys. So it's going to be normal. And like literally, it was like, it was this pretty much the same shit as the lockdown. We just got more off campus time, which doesn't mean it was good, but it was really weird. But yeah, I ended up getting transferred to Heritage, and I believe I stayed there for like 18 months.
Okay.
Um, so I remember one feeling that I had at Heritage was like, will this ever end? Like, is this ever going to be over kind of thing?
Yeah.
I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. Um, you know, I just didn't feel like it was ever going to end. And sometimes, if I'm being honest with you, I still feel like I'm at Heritage. Like, this is going to sound weird, but like, they made us ask for permission to like leave the door of the house. And if you walked out without permission, like the immediate response would be like you get tackled. So, like, even sometimes I catch myself like being really apprehensive to leave the house or like going into a panic attack whenever I go out to go on a walk or like feeling like I'm being watched by the guards there still.
Yeah.
So, it's like, it's fucked, man. It's like absolutely fucked. And I think they traumatize you for the aftermath kind of thing. Like I feel like it's meant to break you so that your parents can have like more easy control over you or something. It's like, they take the dogs to Petland and they have them learn how to sit and they like, they or they, you know what I'm saying? Like I used to work
Yeah.
with horses. We would break horses. It's like I know what they're doing. It's like Pavlovian theory and like that's what they did to us.
Yeah. um, okay. What was the structure of Heritage? Like, how would you? What was expected of you to graduate? How did the levels work?
Okay.
Stuff. Yeah.
So great question. I don't know if anyone else has like said it like this. The levels were bullshit. The more that you kissed ass and the more that you like helped manipulate new students, they would jump your levels. They would fucking dude, when I was in Heritage, they used to let me go hang out with the girls. Like they like left me unsupervised in the girls' home. Like you can ask like you ask people like they would let me do this. Like it's because I was trustworthy in their eyes, but it was also like I don't know, they were like rewarding me in a weird way, even though that's like not normal to like separate people like that based on sexes in society. That's like really culty. But
Yeah.
they would let me like be unsupervised with like fucking 10 girls and shit. And like that was like the only reason I'm mentioning that is because they used to like be super anal about that, you know what I mean? Like you get privileges taken away, dropped levels or anything, even just for like trying to converse with the girls. And that was always a thing. And they would use that as like control. But like I would see them do things like that. And then like it made me wonder like what else they were letting fly.
Yeah.
And and there was a lot of stuff that actually happened like just between other like staff members and like students there, like and I'm not going to mention people's names, but there were staff members that like were having sexual relationships with like students there. And like I remember somebody who worked in the cafeteria like slept with one of the girls and it was just like weird, you know what I mean? Like it's just weird as fuck. And then there was like a lot of sexual assaults that didn't get reported and just like a lot of things that happened there that you see that they really reinforce in your mind your powerlessness over these things. And like even this conversation right now is surreal because I like my entire life and then Heritage it always felt like there was like never any justice or like there's never like a voice or like there's never like legitimacy in the legal system to like the things that had happened to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, the level system was bullshit. It was all just like what you could it was like their way of like incentivizing you to betray yourself, betray others, and like fully sell out to really the LDS faith, to be honest with you. And like I would go to church every Sunday because they would give you more free time and like they would give you like free snacks and they would actually treat you with respect when you were in church. it was really strange. Like all the staff members would totally change up when you were in church. They would like praise you for being there, and like we would have to watch videos from like LDS.org, and um, really strange. Like the chaplain was a Mormon, and like they even like took people off campus. Like I never went off campus to the Mormon thing, but there was a few friends of mine that ended up like staying in Utah, like mainly like females, but they would stay in Utah and become Mormon, and it was just like it was quite obvious that was their objective of all of that.
Yeah,
So,
it's a re-education camp, kind of.
oh, dude, it's literally an internment facility. It's like
Yeah.
it's very sketchy when you look at some of these genocides that have happened in societies. They usually start with like some sort of like middle ground like that. You know
Yep.
what I mean?
Yep.
And that's kind of what I'm worried about for our country. Like, you know, like this isn't just about, I mean, definitely it's about the TTI, but it's not just about that. There's other things that are happening as well. And there's been students who have died at these programs. And, you know, like, I don't know, there's been like human sacrifices from some of these cults that have happened. Like, there was
Yep.
another facility I went to in North Carolina called SOAR, SOAR, and it's in Brevard. And like, dude, they were doing like pretty much having us sit in a six-pointed star and like do rituals with them and shit. Like,
Interesting.
I can't make this up, man. And like, there's been,
No, I definitely
like,
believe you.
yeah, they threatened us with hatchets, and they threatened us, like, they threatened our lives. And I AWOL'd from there. And I'm gonna tell you something really creepy. So I AWOL'd from there, and I ran 2.5 miles barefoot through briars and through like gravel and stuff. And the police came, which was really weird. That was like intimidation. And you know, they were like calling me crazy and all this stuff. And
They
anyways,
knew.
like,
They knew.
yeah, well, yeah, they're tapped in, you know. Um, because a lot of those excuse me, a lot of those cops are sworn in Masons, so like
Yep.
they're all like kind of in with
It's
all
all
that.
connected. It's all
Yeah, it's
connected.
all connected. And so basically, check this out. When I was at Heritage, we went on this off campus, and this random lady who I'd never seen before was there. And she said, "Hey, do you remember me?" I was like, "No." She's like, "Do you remember SOAR in North Carolina?" And I was like,
Wow.
she was like, "Joseph, right?" I'm like, "Who the fuck are you?" And she was like, "I was the nurse that treated your wounds when you ran through." She was like, "You know, you were the furthest AWOL we ever had, right?" And it was like, at that moment, I was like, it was chilling, but I never saw her again after that. And I was like, yo, all this shit is fucking interconnected, and it is, and it's like it's all one thing. And I don't care who comes after me for saying this, but it's like it's all from the government, man. Like I
Yep.
don't care. Like I believe in God. Like I know I'm protected, so I can say whatever. But it's you know, some
Satanic ritual
people
abuse.
SRA. That's right.
Yep.
And I ended up finding a disclosed document about satanic ritual abuse, and I'm like, that's exactly what happened at SOAR.
Yep.
And if anybody listening gets the time, go on their website, click on About Us, look at the staff, and look at the eyes. Look into the eyes of some
Yep.
of
You can
those.
tell.
You can tell that they've shed
Yeah.
blood. And yeah, like, and so there's been like documented like murders in North Carolina, like of some of these like people. Like I was reading about one today where they asphyxiated one of these students, or you know, victims, like in a plastic bag. And like I'm telling you, like for me to run away like that, like I really care about my body and my health. Like I had like 2 inch long thorns like in the heel of my foot, where it was like it felt like someone hit the bottom of my feet with hammers, because I ran like through all this stuff, and I genuinely thought I was gonna die. Like I'm a Christian, so I made like a little cross on the ground with sticks as like my gravestone in case like I were to die. Like I knew I ran away from that location, but I was like preparing myself to die for what I believed in, because that's like a part of my faith, you know,
Yeah.
in history, like being a martyr. So like I knew what was going on, and I knew what time it was, but I prayed, and like I like it just like shit hits the fan when you know, like, you know what a foxhole prayer is. Like I like
Yeah.
these people, they wanted me to live there. And like it wasn't just that they wanted you to live there for like the troubled teen industry thing. It was that like there were people, there was a guy that was 26 years old. He had a big scar on his face like this. He was really intimidating. And he told me that like they had adopted him when he was like 12, and that he had
Yep.
lived on that thing
That's
forever.
what they do.
Yeah, and it's real, and the whole thing is fear mongering. And I knew I was like, I something it must have just been God, but something told me like, dude, get the fuck out of there. Fuck it. If they kill you, they kill you. At least go down fighting. And I've always been that type of a person. I've always gone down swinging. And well, I didn't go down, but I got out of there, and my family was in on it. And my family put me on Ativan and they put me on Risperdal. And if you don't know what Risperdal is, it's an antipsychotic
Yeah.
that causes like a lot of adverse reactions. So I was totally in a psychosis when I got
Hmm.
there to make things even worse. And I do psilocybin therapy now to help with PTSD. And like that came up the last time I did a trip. And that, if you don't know what that does, it basically allows you to like see all of your darkness
Yeah.
like exactly for what it is. And I was talking to a friend of mine on FaceTime and I told her, I was like, it just spilled out of me. I was like, like there's this really crazy place I went to and I haven't really told anybody this. And like all of that happened, right? And another thing I wanted to say was um it was really creepy because this is so hard to talk about, man. But like during holidays in the church that we attended, the little chapel, they would have us write like little letters to kids who were in behavioral hospitals. And it was like sickening. It's like one prisoner to another, you know?
Yeah.
But like that, they kind of like, they would, when we were in church, they would like do the whole church thing. It's like, oh, be grateful for what you have. There's people who have it worse for you. Your struggles are invisible. And like I don't know, I grew up in church here. Like I don't go to church for that reason, but I wanted to mention another thing about Christian churches in the South. There's a place called Teen Challenge. A lot of
Yep.
churches, like most churches, have something called Celebrate Recovery,
Hmm.
and they'll have people there, whether it's a pastor or somebody on staff that's like a recruiter for rehabs.
Yep.
And these Christian rehabs are really abusive. There's one in Lawrenceville, Georgia, called Good Landing Recovery.
Well, because they're
The
not
found
actual Christians. They're not really Christians, you know?
No, absolutely not. There are
No.
people who are predatory and they exploit people's paychecks. And like I'm a real Christian, man, like if I ever see somebody who's homeless in the street, like I'll fucking put my arms around them and hug them, and give them money like if I have that, because I've been homeless before.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and like it's just like I used to be a meth addict in the streets, bro. Like I've overdosed on fentanyl before, and like none of that would have happened if it wasn't for the trauma and the derailment of heritage, because those are your formative years. That's when people save
Yep.
money to leave their house when they're working, and I was on track to do that. But these fuckers sent me there. And what kind of tell me this, if Heritage's goal is to make you independent and make you more apt to like take care of yourself in society, why the fuck don't they let you work when you're there?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, of course, if they made you work, well, some of the places do make you work and they just do free child labor. They don't pay you shit, you know? So,
Sure,
I mean,
sure. But my point is like in the community, like if their true goal is to make you like all these statements on
yeah.
their website, all these mission statements, like none of it fucking lines up. And I remember
No.
the cognitive dissonance was so heavy, like very similar to SOAR, where it's like you get there and they say it's an ADHD summer camp. Same thing with Heritage, they say it's like an ADHD, like they'll list a bunch of things on their website, and it's like these buzzwords they use, like autism becomes a buzzword, and like I actually do have autism, you know
Yeah. Me
but
too.
like, yeah, good. I love autistic people, like it's an awesome superpower. Like, I'm not saying good because you have, stress and things, because I know that's a part of it, but we do achieve a lot and it's
Yeah.
a good thing. And we're very empathetic. And in order for people to like, I've been around other autistic people, it's very hard to be mad at someone who's autistic. It's very hard. Even as a non-autistic person, like it's very difficult. It
Yeah.
usually takes someone like a narcissist to do this, and I would say like 85% of the people at Heritage that were hired on staff would come and like bully us for being that way, and like, kind of scoff at us, or like, act like we're retards or whatever they wanted to, and I don't use that language, but that's kind of
Yeah.
like the way that it was, done. Like we were segregated from the other community just for having autism, which makes no sense. And they would act like we would contaminate the rest of the people, or they would act like we weren't safe with the rest of the people.
Yeah.
And it was just, they would kind of have the girls kind of bully us too, like, oh, who would want you? You're autistic. And Like, it was just this big bullying thing, and that was almost like the worst, bro. Is like, we're already in this all together. Why do you have to like? I don't know, man. But one thing I wanted to say too, I just want to get this off my chest. Like,
Yep.
there was men that would work there that like you could tell they were fucking pedophiles, man. Like
Oh yeah,
they
totally.
they would like try to like wear
That's all
drip.
connected. That's interconnected into all of this. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's like for opportunists. It's like P Diddy probably would have been a home manager. You know what I
Oh
mean? Like
yeah.
like
Mm.
all jokes aside, like that's the type of people that
Yep.
are there. And I know with like the LDS faith, like there's kind of some blurred lines about like their leader of, what is like the legal age or whatever for sex and marriage. And so like just even that alone, like when you come from a faith like that, that's not only racist, but misogynistic and pedophilia is kind of like a staple of theirs.
Hmm.
Like don't be surprised when they start offending children in these facilities, especially with lack of accountability. That's like what festers abuse is like
Oh
those
yeah.
situations. So I remember like specific people, like there's this guy named Levi, and he looked like the kind of guy to like hand out perfume samples to your mom in the mall at the kiosk, like total douchebag. And I remember like he like touched I'm not going to say her name out of
Yeah.
respect for her, but he touched a female who was 17 at the time. He touched her breasts in one of these like seclusion rooms. And like we were all like, yo, what the fuck? And some of the other students jumped him for that, and then he quit. And those students got sent to Provo Canyon
Yeah.
and like Diamond Ranch, and like there was other programs that were more abusive they would use as like the whole like in jails,
Yep.
like the whole. So like, and check this out, they gave us little schedules, like almost like an inmate handbook, and they had like student request forms, i.e., inmate request forms. The
Hmm.
structure of it was very, very similar to county jail. I've been 4 times to county jail. Not for anything crazy, just like
Yeah.
stupid stuff like fighting and drugs and all that, but all the stuff I went through. But it was like exactly like that. It was very bizarre. And that's how I know it was very government. And you can check on their EIN number. It's a medical research facility. That's what Heritage is. And I believe the type of medical research they're conducting is, I believe they're doing like, I think we had to sign off on something when we first got there. Like, would you like to participate in a medical experiment? And they would swab your tongue and like,
What the
take your.
fuck?
Yeah, like seriously, like I don't know if any other students remember that, but I remember being in the nursing station and having them do that. And they were very vague about what that would be. But I guess there's like legality that comes with that even still.
Well,
But yeah,
I
man.
know. I know one of them is probably mind control.
No, of course, dude. That's all it
Yeah.
was. It was all to break you. And
Yep.
there's multiple for I researched it. I actually literally can prove this. There's a form of PTSD that you can get that comes from like being exposed to low level stressors for a long period of time.
Yeah.
And like that's one of the most it's like the water that they turn up and the lobsters, like that whole analogy. It's like if you turn it up 1 degree at a time, or the frogs in the water, like they won't jump out.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what they were doing to us, man. And it look if anyone's watching like this part, like look up the Stanford experiment,
Yep.
because it shows that like there was like this college experiment where they had the students play prison guards and they had the students play
Prisoners.
the prisoners, and like over time like increasingly cruel and unusual punishment just like became despite anyone's psychological profile, like it just shows that like absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yep.
And that's not a proven. There was no scientific evidence that said that heritage helped people recover from anything. And there was like so many people's parents would pull them, or like I knew a kid named Alex, and his name was Alex Block, and he had his arm broken by a staff member. And I think hopefully his parents press charges. If not, I mean, I would understand because a lot of people's parents are fucked up that sent them there. Not all of them, but some people genuinely get tricked. But I think if I was a parent, like I would really do some sniffing on people's character.
Yeah.
But another thing, just quickly, they would do these like big events, these fundraising events, and like I think it was like every second Wednesday of the month, investors would come, and they'd be coming in like
Interesting.
Maybach, Mercedes with tents. Like these guys were like government officials. Like it felt like,
What were they
and
investing in?
they were investing in heritage as like
Interesting.
throw money into it. They make more money. You know, you've got Vivint, which is like the parent company of Heritage. We figured out, like another student and I figured that out. And then what else? Uh, they would have these galas, and it was just like
Interesting.
really strange, right? And like it was like very festive and celebratory, like, and it was like I don't know, like it was like the level of narcissism that you would see at some of these facilities, especially Heritage, because Heritage is one of the wealthier facilities. Like I come from a family that, like, I don't know if sorry, I'm laughing, but I'm being serious though. Like I don't know if my family's just in a shit ton of debt from pulling loans. Probably. That's how most people, that act like my family are. But anyways, like Heritage costed them, like, I think just for a couple months it was like 75 grand.
Yep.
Like it was
Yep.
like $300 a day or something crazy like that. And you know, once again, like the food there was poor quality. Um, like a lot of the food tasted like it had soap in it. It was just bad. Um, and they wouldn't let you talk when you would eat. Like it just was horrible. It was horrible, horrible, horrible. And then we had to attend these dances, like they had these like formal dances and stuff. And a lot of these things, like the dances, they would take pictures of us and send it to the parents and put it on their website. So like everything
That's
was
weird.
it was all just like a revolving door of like advertisement, advertisement, advertisement. Look, you're so happy. And it's like that's how kidnappers will do sometimes, like, and I think what happened when I first got there and I didn't have a phone and I was in the mountains, like I knew in my mind, I was like, there's cell service there, but I thought that it was going to be like North Carolina where there's no cell service. And so I didn't know what the fuck I just gotten into. And in the back of my mind, I was like, I don't want this to, like, I don't want to die. Like that, I'm sure that crossed everybody's mind, even if they couldn't like articulate it in the moment. But yeah, man, like, yes, there were times where I met great people there and we would skateboard in what we called the circle, which was uh like this little cul-de-sac kind of thing with a gazebo in the middle. But we weren't able to like use any of the things there. Like they had a pool and I got into that pool like 2 times in 2 years. And like they probably like had parents invest in that. And um I remember they would talk shit, and like I'm sure the staff members were like like a lot of people had like new cars and stuff, and I knew they weren't supposed to be getting that big of a salary. And it just like it seemed weird, man. It definitely seemed like it was a pretty smart scheme. I'm not gonna lie, they did a good job. They actually did a great job, being manipulative. Like, and that's not something that I'm like giving them a cahoots for, but it's like it's pretty damn clever, because I guess I don't know, even with all the abuse I'd been through, I guess I just had hope that the world was still a good place. Or maybe in my logic, in my mind, this is a fallacy way of thinking. But I thought, oh, because it's a new state, it's a new culture, and it's all going to be different, but it's all the same shit, and if not
Okay.
worse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, well, if you're open to it, I still have more questions for you, but if you're open to it, I would be interested in doing a second episode on satanic, what you know about satanic ritual abuse, and just like the sore place, dive deeper into that. Because
I would love to.
I've done an incredibly deep amount of digging into the topic, into a lot of different things
I can
connected to
tell.
that.
You sound
Yeah.
like you're very knowledgeable, and you know that my speaking up about that doesn't come out of thin air, because you can find other people saying the same exact
Yep.
thing.
Yep.
Same thing with Heritage. And I already know that these people are going to be prosecuted, and I already know that this is going to happen. You know, do I wish bad on anybody? Actually, no, I don't. After, even despite all of this, I just want this is the reason I speak out. I want other children to be protected.
Yep. Yep.
That's the
Totally.
main goal of all of this. I'm sure you can concur. I don't want to speak on your behalf, but it sounds like that's where your head's at too.
Yeah,
But
definitely. Yeah, I try and be the hero that I needed back in the day, and speak up for the people that don't have any voice in the matter. So yeah, if you're open to that, I would be open to that.
I'm 100% open to that. And lastly, for anybody out there that's thinking about like making an Instagram or speaking out, like just know that if you're afraid of people retaliating, like a lot of the people that run these programs are cowards, and they do go into hiding when you start making accounts like that. They don't retaliate. I've made an account and nobody's retaliated. I've gotten nothing but support. And yeah, man, I want to respect your time, and I appreciate you having me on here.
Oh, no, no,
Once again,
no.
I'm
I had
Joseph.
I had some more questions for
Oh, you
you
had some more
still.
questions? Never
Yeah, I had
mind.
some more
Never mind.
questions.
Never mind.
I was just
All
letting you
right.
know that I'm open to doing a second episode. I want to
Oh
do a
yeah,
deeper
yeah, yeah.
dive.
I thought we were gonna do like I thought we were gonna do the cliffhanger like they do on TV shows, but no, okay. But what were
Okay.
you gonna say, man? My bad. I didn't want to like ruin the flow of this, but
No,
yeah,
no, you're totally fine. You're totally fine. I
yeah.
just had some more questions about Heritage. How many people would you say on, if you had to estimate, were there when you were at Heritage?
Okay, so Heritage, there was like 20 people. Wait, hold on. We had 4 beds per room, 4 rooms per house. So that's like 16. And then we had like Timpanogos, Denali, Alta, Cascade North, Brighton North, and then Cascade South. So like 6 times 16. I'm fried, dude. I can't do
Six
I'm not
times
high
six.
right now, but like I'm not gonna do that math right now. So there's like 16 by 6 for the boys, and then the girls the same, I believe. So roughly like 200 students at one given time, although not the homes were never like fully packed for a long period of time, you know. I think they liked getting the turnover because they get the insurance money every time a new client gets admitted like that.
Okay.
So um but yeah,
Around
there's a
200.
lot.
Okay.
There's a lot of people.
Okay. And what was the worst thing that you experienced or heard about or saw there?
Good question. I watched a student named Charlie. He was a taller individual. It took a lot of staff to take him down, but it reminded me of that scene in Jurassic World where they had like the I think it was like cables they had to put around the big dinosaur, and like they took him down,
Yeah.
and like the dinosaur was like just in his natural habitat, just chilling, and like these motherfuckers like came and like took him down, and uh you know what I mean? Or like when the army came against Godzilla, like
Yeah.
Charlie was a gnarly motherfucker. Like this dude is huge, like strong, like you don't want to get in, like he intimidated these staff
Yeah.
members, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? So like it took 4 of them, and it was on Halloween in like 2017.
Okay.
And I remember just peeking out of the window because like he was screaming on the ground. He was having a PTSD episode from all this, but like they had him on the ground, and like just the amount of like struggle that he was like expressing and emoting, like I could tell that it was like I always refrained from doing that myself, but like I could tell that like he was like just watching him experience the trauma and like be on the ground. They had him on the ground for like 2 hours. Like they, if you kept on struggling, they would
Yeah.
extend the safety hold. And like when people would be done, they would be like all like road rashed and everything. And like I'm not saying I was smarter or better than any other students, but like I did refrain. Like my coping strategy was more like kind of fawning and freeze rather than fight and flight, because some kids would go into fight or flight and they would run and they would
Yeah.
do an AWOL. And I didn't do that because I wanted to, I had a plan to go get a phone and try to meet someone locally and get out. And I had a friend who did that was there, my friend Jordan. But like that was probably one of the worst things. Or oh, there's this one Asian kid there. He's super cool. I forget his name, but they slammed his head against the wall like super fucking hard. Like you would hear these safety holds, and you hear like pummeling, like boom, 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 and it'd be like kids' arms and legs, and like it was always the staff members like just fucking them up, and
Yeah.
like they would come in there and like dude, like they made the like even in like I used to do martial arts, bro. Like a lot of the stuff they did was like dirty shit. Like it's like cheap shots. Like they would always do cheap shots, or like I wouldn't be surprised if like kicked people in the nuts like before they took them down. Like that's the type of shit that was going on, man.
Yeah.
Um or when it came to like the females who got like, since like I'm not sexist, but like it's easier to defend yourself as a male.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just a
Yeah. For the
fact.
most
Like
part. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, for the most part. So a lot of the women or the girls that were in the program, when they would get safety holds, like especially when the males would do it, they would like rub it in like almost that they couldn't fight back, and they would like You know, like that's how abusers do. Like the more they can get away with, the more they're going to take. And
Yeah.
so just overall, the helplessness that people were subjected to was probably the most disturbing thing, especially people that you had a bond with in the program. When you'd watch them struggle, like I watched my friend Colin, who's now passed away, you know,
Rest in peace.
uh, yeah, rest in peace. It's really hard for me to talk about that one, but I like watched him like I had like an art kit and they didn't check it and it had like a razor blade and like I gave him the pencil sharpener knowing that he wanted the razor blade because he told me he was gonna be doing stick and poke tattoos and he had already been doing that. But he went into the bathroom and like slit his wrist and like there was like blood coming all the way down his arm and he was trying to sit in there and like let himself bleed out. And I felt so bad that I gave him that shit because I just wasn't thinking I didn't think that
Yeah.
he was like that. You know, usually people broadcast that in the program when they're like that. Like I don't know, like just not all the time, but usually like they would like kind of act out and like
Yeah.
show that. But like I remember how like nonchalant the staff members were. They're like, okay, well we're gonna have to take you to. It's like I was like disgusted by all that, and like I could really tell that they didn't have any regard for our life. Um, and I don't know, man. Like it's hard for me to like. I think another. Well, this is beyond that. But like there was a kid named Derek that was there, and then when he left, he ended up dying. He got shot in Torrance, California by some like gang members or something, and it was really rough. And like there was kids that went missing after they left Heritage, and like there's another kid named Noah. I hope he's doing okay. Even though we weren't on the best terms at Heritage, I just still hope that he's doing good because he went missing. No one's heard from him. Colin, my friend, died. There's another girl named Karina who passed away. And then, like, a lot of these people got on drugs. Like, I know Karina and Colin both OD'd on fent. And it's just a damn shame, dude, because these people were fucking amazing individuals. Like, Colin was a way more, like, sincere person than I am. Like, I'm the type of person to like kind of like not let myself get too emotionally invested in anybody just because of like I don't know, I like to kind of stay to myself in that way. But Colin was like friends with everybody. Like he was just awesome and like it was crazy like what the fuck happened. Like he joined a gang and he got involved with the wrong crowd and then he started trying to get out of it, trying to get sober. He was in a halfway house. He left and then he did like a blue, he like smoked a blue or something and died. And like, you know, like a fake oxy that's pressed
Yep.
with fentanyl and tranquilizers, whatever.
Yep.
And it's just like, it's so, like, to me, he's not gone. Like, I know it's weird, but like, he's still with me. But for everybody else, I don't know. Like, it's just like, for the people that didn't get to know him or like for the other people that, you know, passed away, it's like he was one of the funniest people I've ever met in my life, dude. And like I never like I knew that he had kind of like suicidal ideation. But, like I know that he didn't die by suicide. It was an accident. Like I knew that he was trying, he was doing his music career. He was like doing music like I do and he was doing graffiti and skateboarding and like he was probably the coolest person you'd ever meet. Like really smart, very talented with art, like absurdly talented and he just inspired me like he always inspired me to try harder and like and to like you know kind of keep your head down and grind and he went by low key, that was his tag, LOKI, but he explained it to me that it was like being low key, so
I've
be
seen
low
his
key.
tags. I've seen his tags.
Really, in LA?
No, I live in Washington.
I don't know like it, but yeah, he was from North Hollywood, but yeah, he would tag low key and he was a rapper and just a really like a really, really, really nice person. Like he's the type of person that like he would hold a baby and you could tell that he like loved that baby. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's very few people in this world that like are kind to animals and like kind to children and like wouldn't hurt anybody. Like he's the type of person if he had a kid, he would never like put his hands on them. You know, um it's just fucked, man. Like that's like I don't think any amount of like even the death penalty wouldn't like do a justice towards the people that inflicted harm on us at Heritage and on you and on anybody. It's like no, you literally, and the here's the most disgusting part. Actually, here's the most disgusting part about Heritage. Their motto is changing a life for a lifetime.
Oh yeah, they do that, but not in the way that you want, you know?
Not in the way they're not offering, they're not delivering the service that they're selling. And I'm kind of getting jumbled up on my thoughts here, but we would do these off-campus things, and it was just like really weird. It almost felt like we were passing through the Mormon rites or something, like because a lot of the people who were there that were Mormons that were from that area of Utah County, they would tell us like, "Oh, I remember doing that when I was your age," or like, like, and they would always glorify going on their missions, and it really did feel like we were like a part of the Mormon religion while we were there. And they had a no swearing policy. You'd get in trouble if you didn't swear. I'm like, how does that, like, that doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Anybody who's ever been to AA is a cult, but like
Yep.
anyone who's ever been to AA, they don't care about swearing when you're in the fucking share groups. So
Yep.
it's like if we're going off of that model of recovery, there's no practicality behind not swearing.
Yeah, there's really
That
not.
that's
No.
mainly an image thing for religions.
Yeah.
Um, and there was not really anyone else there. I think it was just because they wanted to usurp power and dominance over us. One last quick little note here. The Mormons are like very predatory in their, like they go to these like countries that are like very colloquialized, like the Tongan country, whatever you call that, Tonga, Polynesian, the whatever Polynesia, is that what it is? Like
Yep.
I
Polynesia.
sound really stupid right now, but like Polynesia and then what's the other shit? Hawaii. Like
Yep.
they would go to these places and recruit these like probably like single mom situation kids that are just trying to make it out of the hood or whatever. They'd be like, "Oh, we got a new life for you. Come to BYU." Like, you know how people do
Yeah.
that. Like they
Yep.
go to the hood. It's like The Blind Side, that movie where they like took advantage of that Michael Orr guy.
Yep.
Like so they pulled that number. They must have all seen that movie and been like, "Oh, this is a good idea." But no, so they would do that, and so like a lot of the staff members there were like BYU football players or like Tongan, Polynesian, Samoan, and like those cultures like big fucking dudes, bro, like ridiculously big.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
that was like their favorite thing to do, but like they would treat them like slaves almost. Like it I'm not racist, like don't hear
Yeah.
that, but I'm saying that's how the Mormons would treat them. They're like, "Oh, you're not white, so you have to like do like grunt work for us," and they would be like the ones doing the dirty work in the program. Like I noticed they would designate like certain staff members to do that, and then like you could see there's like resentment of like them towards like the white students and stuff. And it was weird. Like there's so much unnecessary bullshit that like was brewing at Heritage. And there was like very rarely like students that were like black that were there, and when they were there, they would get targeted by the staff like all the time. It was so bad. And yeah, like it was weird. Like and then I don't know, like just looking back on it now, hindsight 2020, like a lot of the teachers there, like I hate to say it because I actually kind of like this guy because he was nice to me when I was there. But there's this guy named Bob, and the way that he was like a history teacher, and the way that he would like treat the girls and like follow them on Instagram after they would leave and stuff. It's like total pedophile behavior.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Grooming. Yep. Yep.
Like there's people that become teachers just to get access to like
Yep.
children. That's like I've researched this. Like the way that
Yep.
pedophiles operate, they step into positions to like ministry and church or school or daycare or
Youth
whatever,
groups.
youth groups,
Yep.
all those exactly. So you get it. And I didn't think that that was happening at the time, and I guess I'm a guy, so I didn't think that. But there was a staff member named Bridget who would like do my hair and stuff, and like she would let me talk to her sister like romantically on the phone before bed, and like Bridget would come in with like tight revealing clothing on and like lace underneath her shirt, and she would always like kind of like act dumb, but she would like do 360s in front of our beds and stuff. And it was like, dude, like what?
Yeah, totally grooming. Yep.
Totally grooming. And like, I even had these thoughts, bro. Like, maybe this makes me a weirdo, but I had these thoughts where I was like, dude, if I could like seduce Bridget and if I could fuck Bridget, like that would make all of this worth it, like at Heritage. And like, I know like, that's not how I normally think. But
Yeah.
like, when I was there, when you were there, it's called treatment goggles. Like there was a lot of girls there that you wouldn't typically think are attractive, but the longer you're there, the more you like, and not to be disrespectful, but like everybody knows this, like you just kind of become like trauma bonded and you're like,
Yep.
yeah, it's like you start making and bad decisions. And like I noticed when I left Heritage, the types of girls I would date would be like very like borderline and like crazy and like
Definitely.
narcissistic and like just very like toxic. And I feel like it's because of like the Heritage experience taught me like that's all I deserved.
Yeah. No, I can completely relate.
And then yeah, man, and then Jerry Spanos, the founder of Heritage, like just weird, man. His story didn't add up. He always said like he said that he would use the word like retarded. He said he had a 70 IQ and he'd always say like we were just he'd always like compare that to us. He'd be like, I was one of you guys. Like I had a 70 IQ and I was like classified as retarded. And like they acted like he was like their white knight. And there's like actually four campuses of Heritage now. I was aware that they were building one when I was in
It's still
launch, which
open?
one of them is looking at being closed, but that's why they have three other campuses.
Okay.
So the state of Utah can only close down one of because they have licenses to
Yep.
practice
Yep.
psychiatry or whatever. And yeah, so like there's three of the campuses are still running, and then they had a program which was like a step down, if you will, and it was called Launch. And that was like you go in the community, you have a job, and yeah, but you're still like they take your phone away from you at night. And let me add another detail. At nighttime, when you go to sleep, every night they'd have staff come in and shine a flashlight into your room to make sure you're okay. Same shit happened at jail.
Really?
Same shit. Same
Yep.
exact thing. Yeah.
Yep.
Even the same way they shine the
Yep.
flashlight.
Yep. They check with the flashlight. Yep. Same shit.
Yeah. Same exact shit, man. They did that at SOAR too. But I just find it to be like, I don't know, man. Like the police are definitely like I was talking to somebody else who runs an Instagram page um, that is about this kind of stuff, and one of my friends, she kind of like goes and does protests and organizes this stuff, and basically, she realizes that a lot of these reports go kind of like swept under the rug when reported to
Yep.
police. I'm like, interesting, just interesting, just interesting. And what else was I thinking about yeah, they used to like take away food from us as punishment. Like anything and everything you could think of as like cruel and unusual, like group punishments, like they would do that. And or there's this one time there's this staff member named Sarah Snow and she had curves. She looked like one of those like squatter, like those like Olympic weightlifting girls. Like I
Yeah.
could tell that like she had done some like weightlifting, like she was pretty built, right? Like no weird shit, but she was just built. And like and so she had a rather large butt, just being honest. And so all the guys that were in the program that were like horny 17-year-old kids are like gonna look at this girl who's like coming in and obviously trying to garner attention to herself by the like the things that she was doing. Like she would like, what I mean? She would like parade in front of the like, like it was obvious, bro. Like you could tell the difference. You know what I mean? And not all staff that would like wear those like tight pants would be doing that, but she was like really trying to like play this role. And like we had to all like apologize. Like they shamed us like on the basis of like the Mormon religion. They shamed us, and they said it was like unscriptural that we looked at her when she was walking up and down the stairs and stuff when she was like doing the most. You know what I mean? It was just crazy. Like I know there's gonna be some feminists that are gonna like watch this and they're gonna be like, "Oh my god, I can't believe he said that." But it's like, dude, come on, bro. Ask anybody who went to the program; they'll remember what I'm saying. And
Okay.
they made us all group apologize to her. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like you're coming in. It would be one thing if this was like normal society, you're in a fucking medical care facility, and then you're trying to impose your religious beliefs on us. It's like shit. You can look while not being like none of us actually harassed her at all. We all just looked, and like they would like catch us looking, and like it just was like, you know how like girls like they feel safe when a guy's like defending them. There was definitely like white knight staff members that would like try to protect them, and then there were staff members that would like start like dating relationships while they were there, and then they would have like this like thing where like they'd be a united front against any student. Like if you were to speak out against the relationship, they would like give you consequences and shit like in the program. And it was weird as fuck. Like they'd be like, "Oh, don't talk to that female staff. Like that's my girlfriend," and like super fucking weird, right?
Yeah.
Super weird. And one of the staff members, this guy named Connor, actually helped one of the students who was gay. It was a friend of mine named Bailey, and I don't judge people's sexual orientation,
Yeah.
but what happened was Connor Bailey used to like hug onto Connor's arm all the time. I think Bailey was just looking for some connection, totally normal.
Yeah.
But Connor would let him do it, and Connor would like cuddle him, and like Connor ended up taking Bailey in his truck and like escaping with him off campus. And I don't know if they did anything in that truck or like you know like real shit, dude. Like that's how shit happens. And he helped him AWOL, and Connor got fired, and Connor felt like he did nothing wrong, and like in a way I could kind of see how he was kind of trying to help out, but like the fact that it was fused with like sexuality was like that's what like I couldn't get like down with, you know.
Yeah.
And bro, there's so much shit that went down when you were there. Like if you're there for 2 years, you see everything.
Yeah.
You really do. You really do. And they would have parents visitation, and they would like they would hire chefs, and like they would say like, oh, this is the food that we normally get. And like, I don't know, bro. It was just so weird. And the cringiest thing would be watching the parents interact with each other and act like everything was fucking normal. It was like,
Yep.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
But I'm telling you so many little details, man. Like, I'm sure this will help people. Like, I'm sure this will, you know, be helpful. But like, I'm like telling you all the cringiest, like, worst fucking god awful details of this place because it's worth talking about.
Yeah.
And what's another thing that happened? Oh, there's this one home called Alta, and it smelled of feces, like an ambient, moldy. Like you see that vent up there, like they would have vents like that, and it would have like
Yeah.
spackles of brown mold. Like there's no way that met code. You know,
Yeah.
you can get like fungus can grow in your lungs from having mold.
Yep. Yep. I'm
I
actually
remember that.
allergic. I'm actually allergic to black mold. So.
Yeah, you can die from that. Actually, you can.
Yep.
I don't know. It's like your lungs can kind of like collapse or something like that.
Gives you pneumonia.
Pneumonia. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, you're smart, dude. And oh, another thing, there was like a nurse that ended up having sex with one of the guys there that was in the program, and I definitely felt like the female like staff members there were like definitely trying to like seduce the male students in a lot of ways or just tease them.
Yep.
Like it
True.
felt like the
Yep.
dress code is black yoga pants for what should be a safe place in a professional environment. I'm sorry, bro. I'm not trying to even get religious about this, but it's like if I'm a woman, I'm gonna show some damn respect to like with the environment I'm in. Like you know, you dress a certain kind of way, like you know what I mean. Dress respectfully. Like what the fuck? Like you're supposed to like that's just not professional.
Well, as a
Like I'm
staff member, yeah.
well, yeah, and also it's not practical if you're gonna have to do a safety hold. Like, put on some cargo pants, put on something durable. You know, like it's like you see what I'm saying. Like when you look at the logic behind it, they don't have like a there's not like a logical reason to do that unless you're just looking for attention.
Yeah.
But I'm a Chad, so I'm gonna say whatever I want. But I just like I'm a Giga Chad, but I think that dude that like okay humor like one of the things that got us through heritage was humor and like that was another thing that like I don't know, like anything good that we had, they would just try to snuff it out, man. And but like humor, like if it wasn't for humor, like I would have probably like been broken by that place. Like I've always been a very funny person. I've always been very like charismatic with like friends and like meeting new people. So like I did have a certain amount of social pull there. Like I was probably one of the most like powerful people like by the time I left on the campus because I'd been there the longest and I knew all the little loopholes and how to finesse the system. And we had a group of people that we were like finessing things, but like we never like identified as a group, but like people would sneak phones in and like uh when they take the phones away, we'd steal them back and stuff like that. And people were bringing nicotine vapes in there. People brought weed in there. There's another one of my friends named Landon that like fucked one of the staff members in the bed upstairs in like Cascade North, and he ended up dating the name was Sarah, and she was really hot, but like it was obviously inappropriate that she was 23 and he was like 16 or 17, and he ended up like moving from LA back to Utah to like visit her and shit. And it's like what Landon didn't realize is like, dude, you got fucking preyed on, dude. Like, yeah, of course it felt like you were getting some, like you're a guy, but like, dude, you're getting fucking like you know
Yeah,
what I mean, bro? Like
yeah,
that shit's like not fucking normal, bro. Like I don't know, like the maturity level between her and him. He was a
yeah,
mature guy, but like how mature can you truly be at 17?
yeah, yeah. Your brain's not even fully developed. Yeah,
Yeah, how much of like as a guy that age, like how much are you really truly like you're not really consenting to like the long-term consequences of like a decision like that, like should she have gotten pregnant or if there's a little Landon running around.
yeah,
And I don't know, man. It's just uh or let me give you another, let's flip it. The guys who would work there and then the girl students, it would clearly be these like gym bro kind of guys that would try to be all suave.
yeah,
And I've never really been a gym bro, man. Like I'm just not the type. I was always a skater. But some of the male nurses, they would like you could tell they would enjoy like getting flirted with by the students, but they'd be like, I'm at work right now. You know what I mean? You see
yeah,
what I'm saying? Like it wouldn't be like a no, but it'd be like, I'm at work right now. And like who knows, like I've heard Paris Hilton say that there was like vaginal exams
yep.
that they
I've heard
did.
a lot of people say that. Yeah,
I feel like a lot of the girls are like ashamed to come out and speak about it, but like I'll go on record and say that like I wouldn't be surprised if they did something like that. And
yeah,
I don't know, man. It's like this is such a like as I'm saying this, I'm just like one thing after another. It's like ugh, it's like they did so much fucking shit, dude. It's like it's been so long that yeah, I can talk to these things about I can talk about these things with other survivors, but like most people don't want to relive the experience by talking about it. And I'm one of the few people in like the 40 years of heritage being run that actually made an account on Instagram, which surprised me. And it's kind of like annoying that like nobody will make these accounts. And I also, when I was at Heritage, I signed something that said I do not want to be like I was already like on this wave while I was at Heritage. I never allowed them to use my face for their advertisements. Like I was like, fuck that.
yeah. Okay.
But I just think like uh I don't know, bro. I like a loss of words. It was just a big group gaslighting thing too. It was just crazy.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
other weird part is like some of the teachers were like so narcissistic that like they literally acted like everything that was going on was like totally normal.
Yep. Yep.
Some of the staff members there you could see were like being eaten alive of what was going on. But we had a really cool teacher named Wayne. He would let us watch YouTube videos and shit, and he would laugh along if we like put on like a fucked up meme or something. Like there's always those heroes that were there. But at the end of the day, like you're still in jail, basically, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Knowing what you know now, if you could go back in a time machine and not go through heritage, would you go? Would you, and why?
Yeah, this might surprise you, but just because of the people that I've met at Heritage, for example, Colin and a couple of other people I'm not going to mention right now, just because of that, and the fact that I pursued my music way in a different way, I don't think I would go back and change anything.
Okay.
Um, I would definitely not be impacted by the PTSD of it, but like I think that I got to know myself a lot more because of the trauma that I endured. And like this may also sound really weird as well, but I feel like the abuse at home was worse than the abuse at Heritage.
Okay.
So in a way, I was kind of like away from that, and I was like, even though I wasn't like protected literally, I was like protected from my stepdad and my mom.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And
And
like there were like some things that were giving me hope at Heritage, like not from Heritage, but like from myself. Like it made me look myself in the mirror.
okay. Okay. And what do you think would have helped you instead of being sent away?
Um okay, I think that psilocybin assisted therapy combined with like EMDR and yoga and like basically all the things I do now, as well as like um having like a good support system, like a better family, and uh getting into music earlier. Like I think all those things, and like having a musical like network of people that I could, be producing songs with and what have you. Like, cause all those things are the things that I've resorted to, and like, bro, like it's really unfortunate. A lot of people haven't made it to this age. Like, I feel undeserving of this privilege because there's a lot of people that are a lot better than me that have passed. I attempted suicide multiple times in recent years, and I was unsuccessful. Thankfully, thank God. But uh, like what would have helped me would have been like just a good friend, or I'm not blaming anybody, but even the people that went through Heritage, like they failed me on a lot of fronts. Just being a friend, like I tried to be there and support a lot of people that left Heritage, but like nobody wanted to like get down to the nitty gritty and talk about like shadow work type stuff. Not that it's like my right to know everybody's last little detail of their traumas, but I always wanted to like be that healer. And I think my way of channeling that in a positive way is by like running the IG that I run, which is Heritage RTC Survivors. And yeah, man. Like, I really hope this gets global recognition so that way, like, because there are other countries that have facilities like Mexico and
Yeah.
Jamaica, I know have them. I know there's my biological dad went to one in Australia. This is like a Catholic
Yep. I've
one.
interviewed somebody from one in Australia.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool that you've done
Yep.
that. And not cool that they're running it, but
Yeah.
it's cool that they've done that. But I'm actually half Australian, like I just mentioned, my dad is in Sydney. But yeah, man, like all in all seriousness, like there's a lot of love and a lot of support out there for all the survivors. Um, and a lot of us are kind of neurodivergent, or we might have something that makes us quirky, but that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with us. And a lot of the shame that we internalize, the source of it, I realized the reason we're talking right now actually is because I discovered Paris Hilton's documentary about the T.T.I industry. And I discovered that while doing my own therapy work. And I realized like the biggest wound wasn't my childhood. The biggest wound was Heritage. And I
Yeah.
think it was the isolation and the echo chamber, the feedback loop they create when they put you in that environment.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Because
is there?
you don't have outside interference to those voices.
Yeah. No. It's that's part of the mind control. That's how it works. Is you're isolated from everything else, and they control the narrative in there.
I feel
um.
vulnerable sometimes nowadays. Sometimes I still feel vulnerable to like people trying to control me, or feeling like I can't fight back, or feeling like I don't have rights. Sometimes I still feel that way
Yeah.
every day.
What do you struggle with most as a result of being there?
Depression, feelings of suicide, feelings of worthlessness, apathy, like stagnation in my like career, and like pretty much not being able to work a job because the level of PTSD I have combined with autism. So like my finances are typically kind of tight. It's kind of like makes me feel ashamed. Like I know some people have been to Heritage and done well, but that hasn't been my story. Like I said, I was homeless. I know that has been a lot of people's story, unfortunately. But I'm not a lazy person, man. Like I was always an athlete, always got good grades in school. Like I run a small business online, but like it's not what I'm capable of. It's not what I know that I'm capable of. It's like I feel like I'm so sensitive to rejection after Heritage, where it's like I have a very difficult time like doing most normal shit. Like this is even very difficult for me to come on here and do something like this, feeling like I'm going to be retaliated against, even though it's irrational. Um, you know,
Well, nobody's going to retaliate against you on my channel because I moderate every single comment that comes through, and I don't let any bullshit come through. So,
well, that's good. That's especially good to know for anyone else who would want to come and, participate. But yeah, like I wonder if I could get some more heritage survivors to, because I know the girls would have different things to share than me, and I know that there's a couple individuals that I know would want to share. There's a friend of mine, and his name is Danny, and like he always would be slammed. They would slam him on the ground a lot, and it was really fucked up because he would have like rug burn on the side of his like head right here, like, and I'm sure he suffered from some sort of like concussions or something, and it was just like it was really sad um to see like that happen. And he was like autistic just like me and you and like many others. And for us who have autism, I think heritage is especially confusing because um like we try to like understand. I think we seek to understand before being understood as like part of the empathy,
yeah,
and that kind of like made heritage very confusing, whereas some of the students would be like fuck heritage. Like I found it difficult to be like so like obstinate like that to the program, even though, like I said, in my heart of hearts, I knew it was wrong what was going on. I had a hard time like just blatantly AWOLing or like fighting a staff member. Like to me, like I try to see the good in everyone.
yeah, no, me too. Well, if you know anybody that wants to be interviewed, send them my way. I'll interview
Yeah,
them.
so after this is over and after this is published, my friend is going to promote this on her website, and I'm going to promote that website and this video on my Instagram, and we're going to try to bring some people into what we're doing here. And like I said, man, this is like heroic. This is heroic of you. I feel very honored to be like a voice for a lot of people. Even though like I can kind of be like, sometimes I use humor to like kind of cope, but I'm very serious about stepping up to the occasion here. I would feel incomplete if I didn't do this because it's only right, man. And what they're doing is actually illegal. So we're not doing anything wrong by speaking out, as twisted as it, seems
Yeah,
that we feel that way.
no, I completely agree. And is there anything else you want people to know about your experience at Heritage for this interview? We're going to do a follow-up interview and talk about other stuff.
Yeah, okay, absolutely. I wanted to say after I got out of Heritage, my mom's response was taking my two little brothers away from me and ghosting me for the last 6 years. So that's how my mom has responded to me coming back from Heritage to my grandparents' house. So that was very warm of her. And yeah, like I just want everybody to know that like I really do see a big uprising of people coming. Like it's becoming more normal to talk about this. Like it's there's conversations that are opening up about this. Paris Hilton is a big voice because of her publicity. But that's Kat Von D actually went to Provo Canyon too. Like there's a lot of people. Like you're not alone. For anyone who's hearing this, you're not alone. Very successful people who do really well in life end up going to these places, and we have a community. And I think that's all until next time.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And next time, just as like a little preview, I would like to talk about, because I'm a ex-addict as well. I did heroin and meth for over a decade, so I'm a recovered addict. So I want to get in, if you're open to talking about your addiction and then talking about SOAR and the satanic ritual abuse and stuff.
Yeah, that needs to be talked about, man. So yeah, I'm glad that you're here with us. I'm glad that you're doing better. I'm glad that you're good, man. I love you, brother. And like, I really love everybody else that is watching this. Like, I mean that. That's why I'm speaking up. It may not be much, but it's all I can do to help. So, yep, love you guys, and we'll see you soon.
Okay. All
But
right, you
yeah,
guys. Well, if you've watched so far in the video, please make sure you subscribe if you're not already. Like the video, share it, leave a comment down below. Say hi. I'd love to meet you. And if you want to do an interview, just let me know that, and we will get you scheduled. We will catch you on the next one. Bye, y'all.